Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fix and Cruise Garage. Have you ever felt like your car has a mind of its own? Maybe it's struggling to start in the morning, the engine idles like it's shivering, or you're visiting the gas station way more often than you used to. You might be looking at a big, expensive problem. But what if I told you the culprit could be this tiny, inexpensive sensor? This is an intake air temperature sensor, or IAT sensor, and when it goes bad, it can cause a whole cascade of frustrating and costly issues. Today we're diving deep into the top 5 symptoms of a bad IAT sensor, and stick around until the end, because I've got a bonus tip that could save you from replacing a part that isn't actually broken. Before we get started, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss out on more car maintenance tips. Let's get our hands dirty. What is an IAT sensor and how does it work? Alright, before we jump into the symptoms, let's quickly cover what this little guy actually does. Think of your car's computer, the ECM, as a master chef. To cook up the perfect combustion, it needs the perfect recipe of air and fuel. The IAT sensor is the chef's thermometer. Its only job is to measure the temperature of the air coming into your engine. Why does temperature matter? Well, cold air is denser than warm air. It has more oxygen molecules packed into the same space. When the IAT sensor tells the ECM, "Hey, we've got cold, dense air coming in," the ECM says, "Great, I'll add more fuel to match all that oxygen for a powerful combustion." Conversely, if the sensor says the air is hot and less dense, the ECM dials back the fuel to maintain the perfect air-to-fuel ratio. So, what happens when this thermometer gives the chef the wrong temperature? You get a bad recipe, and your engine's performance suffers. Now let's look at the first sign that your recipe is off. Symptom number 1, the check engine light. The most straightforward symptom is the one nobody likes to see, the dreaded check engine light. When the IAT sensor fails or its readings are so far out of the expected range that the ECM knows something is wrong, it will store a diagnostic trouble code and illuminate that light on your dash. You'll need an OBD2 scanner like this one to read the codes. The most common codes for a faulty IAT sensor are P0110 Intake Air Temperature Sensor Circuit Malfunction, P0111 IAT Sensor Range Performance, P0112 IAT Sensor Circuit Low Input, Stuck Reading Very Hot, P0113 IAT Sensor Circuit High Input, Stuck Reading Very Cold. Seeing any of these codes is a huge clue. If you don't have a scanner, they're super affordable these days. It's an essential tool for any DIYer. Symptom number 2, poor fuel economy. Are you in the local gas station attendant on a first-name basis now? A bad IAT sensor could be the reason why. This is one of the most common and costly symptoms. Here's the deal. Let's say your sensor fails and is permanently stuck, telling the ECM that the air is -40 degrees, even on a hot summer day. The ECM, trusting this faulty information, will constantly enrich the fuel mixture, dumping in way more gas than the engine actually needs. This is called running rich. You're essentially wasting fuel with every press of the pedal. If you've noticed a sudden, unexplainable drop in your MPG, your IAT sensor is a prime suspect. Symptom number 3, rough idling and stalling. Symptom number 3 manifests as a rough, shaky idle, or in some instances, complete stalling at stoplights, which can be particularly frustrating for drivers. During idle, your car's engine is in a sensitive state, intricately balancing the precise mixture of fuel and air necessary for smooth operation. The Engine Control Module, ECM, diligently works to maintain this equilibrium, adjusting various parameters with remarkable precision to ensure optimal performance. However, when the intake air temperature IAT sensor begins to relay inaccurate data, this delicate balance becomes disrupted. If the engine receives a signal indicating that the incoming air is cooler than it actually is, it may compensate by enriching the fuel mixture. This leads the engine to run too rich, inundated with fuel, and resulting in sluggish performance. You might find it difficult to accelerate smoothly, as the extra fuel can cause hesitations and a noticeable loss of power. Conversely, if the sensor indicates that the air is warmer, the engine may run too lean, meaning it is deprived of essential fuel. This starvation can lead to a series of symptoms, including stumbling, misfiring, and an unsettling sensation that the engine may shut off entirely. In severe cases, the engine may cut out altogether, leaving you stranded in the middle of traffic, particularly at busy intersections where delays can be dangerous. Achieving a smooth idle is akin to perfecting a culinary recipe. Each ingredient must be carefully measured and balanced. A malfunctioning IAT sensor can throw off that balance, resulting in an unpleasant driving experience filled with abrupt engine responses and the constant worry of unexpected stalls. This not only affects your comfort, but can also pose significant safety risks on the road. Symptom number 4. Hard starting. Next up, we have hard starting. This can happen in two different ways depending on how the sensor fails. Scenario 1. The cold morning struggle. On a cold day, your engine needs a richer fuel mixture to get started. But if your IAT sensor has failed and is stuck reading hot, the ECM won't provide that extra fuel. The engine will crank and crank and crank because it's essentially being starved of the fuel it needs to fire up. Scenario 2. The hot restart problem. Conversely, let's say you've been driving, the engine is hot, and you stop for gas. You get back in, and the car won't start. If your sensor is stuck reading cold, the ECM will inject way too much fuel into an already hot engine. This floods the cylinders, and you'll have to wait for it to clear before it will start. So whether it's a cold start or a hot start, if your car is giving you trouble, the IAT sensor could be the culprit. Symptom number 5. Hesitation and poor performance. And finally, symptom number 5. Engine hesitation and just plain poor performance. You go to press the gas to merge into traffic or pass another car, and for a second, nothing happens. The car stumbles, it hesitates, and then it finally decides to go. This happens because the ECM is in a state of confusion. Your foot is telling the throttle position sensor to open up and demand power, but the faulty IAT sensor is giving it bad data about the air. The computer struggles to calculate the correct amount of fuel on the fly, and that delay is what you feel as hesitation. It makes the car feel sluggish, unresponsive, and, frankly, unsafe. Okay, so we've covered the 5 big symptoms. You've got your check engine light, your car is guzzling gas, and it's running rough. You're ready to order a new IAT sensor, right? Wait! Here's my bonus tip. Check it before you check out. Sometimes the sensor isn't actually bad, it's just dirty. Over time, oil vapor from the crankcase ventilation system and fine dust that gets past the air filter can coat the sensor's tip. This layer of gunk insulates it, preventing it from reading the air temperature accurately. It can produce all the same symptoms as a completely failed sensor. Before you spend any money, pull the sensor out and take a look. If it's dirty, a quick spray with some dedicated mass airflow or electronics cleaner can sometimes bring it right back to life. It's a cheap and easy first step. I hope this video helps you diagnose your car's issues and saves you some time and money. If you found this valuable, do me a huge favor and hit that like button and subscribe to Fix and Cruise for more DIY auto repair tips. Drop a comment below if you've ever had an IAT sensor fail on you. Until next time, keep on wrenching.